Ooh, wait, look at it. Just look at my precious. What's up, carnivores? Zach here with American Smoke, and today we're making what could possibly be the world's best double smoked ham. I can't say for sure that it's going to be the best because there's a lot of hams out there and I can't taste all of them. I would try if I could, but today we're going to be tasting this ham. And let me tell you something, it's going to be something special. If you're interested in how to make the perfect, in my opinion, double smoked ham for the holidays, stick around because we're going to be making the perfect double smoked ham today. We've got all of our ingredients that are going to go into this. We've got ham, brown sugar, butter, allspice, Mike's hot honey, delicious raspberry preserves, some of the awesome Lane's barbecue apple pie seasoning. We've got a little bit of paprika, ground cloves. Don't want to forget the Crown Royal, because what I'm calling this ham is crown winning ham. And so it's definitely going to be good. We've got our smoker running today at 250 degrees. When you smoke a ham, you can go from 225 all the way up to 325, 350. Really what you're doing is you're reheating the ham. And we've got some apple pellets and apple woods to hopefully complement the apple pie. I've been letting this sit out for a couple hours now, coming up to room temp. And we're just gonna dump the whole stick over in there. Better to have too much than not enough. Then we're gonna hit that up with about 2 or 3 tablespoons of the Mike's hot honey. It's not gonna be super significant, but it is going to provide a nice little kick of heat. We're gonna get in about 2 tablespoons all over that butter. Then all you got to do is just come in here and you just want to work that honey into the butter. If you don't want to use spicy honey, just any honey will do, honey. So all you really have to do is like you're opening up a deck of cards. Pick a card, any card. Then we're just going to take the butter and we're going to rub it all over the ham. This is going to act as a moisturizer and a binder for our seasonings. Since I am a thorough type, getting a little bit in between each slice. Nobody's gonna say, I wish you had put less effort into this ham. And if they do, they're not welcome at my table. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We are going to be seasoning the top layer of this up with a little bit of Lane's apple pie seasoning. This has got an adequate amount of salt and cinnamon and brown sugar, apple flavored sugar. It's gonna be great. Go liberal. This is just on the outside, and so the more liberally you go on with it, the better chance you're gonna have some of it sort of melts into some of the cuts into the spiral ham. You're gonna wanna turn it up, and where we slid all that butter in, just let that sort of open up slightly like it's gonna do. All that butter makes it a little bit slippy. If you've got any extra butter and seasoning laying around your cutting board, just pile that up on the top and that's gonna melt down. So one more step that I want to take before I put this into the smoker, since we are going to just be cooking this to a internal temp and not necessarily time. You don't really want to go over about 140, 145 degrees because it's already been cooked once. A dehydration process has already taken place once. So we really don't want to get it much hotter than that and dehydrate it more. We just want to cook on this stuff to the outside, increase the flavor a little bit, and warm it back up. And I did recently learn if you have a meter and you are having trouble reading your ambient temps, it may be because you're pushing this in just a little bit too far. Thank you, Keith. There's a line there, push it up to the line, and that's about as deep as you want to go. Let's get this into the smoker. So I have got a water pan in under where this is going to sit. That way all the sugar and butter and everything that's going to inevitably drip off of and out of this ham is going to have a place to catch. That is water in that pan as well, and I've got water in my water pan to make sure we keep a nice moist and steady temp. We're going to be coming back in about maybe 2 hours, and we're going to be putting some more stuff on this ham to make it even better, so y'all stick around. Now that our ham is in the smoker, taking on some smoke and starting its warming up process, it's time to make our sugar blend, because we're gonna make something similar to a honey baked ham today. It's gonna be a perfect melding of like a honey baked ham and a double smoked ham, which you've probably seen all over YouTube. Today, we're gonna combine the worlds and make something truly special. We've got a 1.5 cups of white granulated sugar here. We're gonna be adding in just a little bit of ground cloves, about 1/2 to 1/4 of a teaspoon, just about 1/4 of a teaspoon of allspice. Then we're gonna be going in with just some of the Lane's apple pie seasoning, about 1/2 of a teaspoon. Then all we've got to do is just mix this up until it's nice and blended. This is just gonna go dry on top of the ham. A little bit of paprika into this as well, just for a little color. And that's pretty much all that you need for your sugar glaze. We're gonna slide that out to the side, and we're gonna start on our glaze. That's gonna be a liquid that's gonna go over the top of the sugar glaze once the sugar glaze has set. All right, so first thing we're gonna add into the pot is going to be 1/2 of a stick of unsalted butter. We're just gonna go 3/4 of a stick of unsalted butter since it fell in there. You know what I'm saying? We have got about 1 cup to 1.25 cups of brown sugar. We're gonna go with a couple teaspoons of the Mike's Hot Honey, because that's gonna help to also complement what we put on there initially. Then we're going in with a couple teaspoons of some higher quality maple syrup. Get the better maple syrup. Couple teaspoons of that. We've got some raspberry preserves. This is gonna add a nice tartness to the mixture. You wanna use about 1/2 a jar. We're going to use some Crown Royal Black. I like Crown Royal Black. It's very smooth. And down here in the South, if you got Crown, you're doing all right. Little Crown to wash it down. Crown Royal Black. And for this, you're going to use a couple ounces or about 1.5 shots, 2 shots, something like that. We're going to go just a little over 1.5 shots. I know it seems like this is a 3rd shot, but one of these is for Dada. That's smooth. And we're gonna get this onto some heat and get it mixed up. That way we can drizzle it over the ham. All right, so you just wanna let this stuff start to heat up and then just let the butter melt, stirring it slowly. Make sure that you're doing this over low heat. Got a lot of sugary stuff in this glaze, and we wanna make sure that it does not burn. Okay, so once you have got your butter melted and everything incorporated into this mixture, you are done. All you got to do is just keep it warm. You can see the raspberry bits coming out of those preserves. Thin, but not super thin, not watery consistency. And this is going to thicken up a little bit once it comes off of the stove. And I'm just going to put this on top of my smoker. I can tell you this much, I have already tried this, and it is phenomenal. We're about 1.5 hours in. We've got our glaze for the end of the cook, keeping warm on top of the smoker here, and we're about to do our first application of our sugar mixture onto the ham. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slide out our pan a little bit, and we're gonna slide out our ham a little bit. That way we don't make too big of a mess inside of our pit. And all we're gonna do is we're just going to start drizzling this sugar mixture all over the top of this ham. Try to go slow, that way it has a chance to bond. We're going to be doing this several times, about every 30 minutes or so. So that way it has an ability to accumulate on the top of the ham and stick and create a crust. In later coats, I'm going to be actually handling the ham and tipping it. That way we get more coat on the sides. But for this initial coating, that's about all I want to do right there, just to start building it. And that's where we're at right now. No need to do anything else. Time to close the pit back up. Our smoke tube has caught some oxygen, so it's flaring up back there, but when we shut it down, that's gonna shut back down as well. And that's it for now. We'll see y'all here in a little bit when we put another coat of sugar on, and then eventually we will be putting the glaze on once the ham reaches about 125 degrees. We're sitting at about 70 degrees internal right now. All right, so we are about 35 minutes later. We're gonna slide everything back out. If you don't think that these things make smoke, just stand over them for a minute. I've got my nitrile gloves on right now, my cotton inserts. That lets me handle it a little bit better. And we're gonna start off by sort of just laying this ham over a little bit. Not too much, and that's just gonna allow us to put a little bit of that sugar all over the side. You can try to be careful, but you don't have to be too careful. The important thing is just get it on there. Maybe I should have named this ham, instead of crown winning ham, maybe I should have named it diabetes ham. Let me know in the comments below. What do you like better? Crown winning ham or diabetes ham? So that's building up nicely now. We're gonna close that back up, get everything in place, and let it come on up. All right, so we have been another 30 minutes, and it's time to get this thing out and pack some sugar on it, go one more time, and then we'll start glazing. We're currently at 110 degrees internal. I mean, you could take it out right now, and that would be, you know, perfectly fine. Nobody is going to turn their nose up to this. Look at that thing. Okay, so the reason that we've taken it out of the pit for this particular coating is because I'm going to really pack it on there. Scoop some sugar out, get it onto the top, and then we're going to sort of rub it on. Make sure that the sides really get that coating. Massage it onto the ham. And remember, this is not just sugar. This has got all that good stuff incorporated into the sugar. When people taste this, they're gonna look at you like you've been holding back on them your whole life. How did you do this? Is this black magic? Is that what this is? Have you gotten into magic, Timothy? And so that's gonna start to melt just because of the heat of the ham itself. Meanwhile, we're gonna pack that on, and then we're gonna do it again. If you've ever had a honey baked ham and you know about that thick, delicious, sugary crust that they have on there, this is similar to the method that they use. Their method is not as good as what we're doing. What we're doing here is we're creating a thick crust. The ham is not going to just have the flavor that is in the meat itself. You're going to be imparting that outside layer that is going to just, it's going to knock people's socks off. I'm going to be honest with you. Have extra socks. You can see it's on there real thick, but then it starts to clear up and bond to the ham. You don't want to rub it real hard at this point. You want to just pat it on. Our diabetes ham. This is the reason we use 1.5 cups of sugar, so that we could waste it onto the table, still have plenty without having to worry about running out. You can use as much as you want. You can do this as many times as you want until you're satisfied. Look for places where it needs a little bit more. Make sure to get it on there, because this is your last chance for sugar. After this, we're going on with that delicious glaze that we made. Having it out like this is gonna let the internal temperature drop down just a little bit, which is fine, because like I said, we're not cooking this, we're warming it up. But that's gonna give us a little time to cook this coating on, and that'll give us more time to cook on our glaze. Because we wanna set the glaze, we wanna do about 2 or 3 coats of the glaze. There it is, ready for its final smoke bath before the glaze. Let's get it back into the pit. And there we go. We're gonna let that go until about 30 minutes, or until it hits 120, 125. At that point in time, it's glaze time. We wanna get about 2 or 3 glazes in that next 15 to 20 degrees where it hits 140, 145, and then we let it rest. Okay, it's been another 30 minutes and it is time to start glazing. Our temperature is at 119, 120 degrees, which is right where we wanna start glazing. That's gonna give us enough time to do 2 or 3 glazes between now and 145. Wow, need better light down here. We're losing light. I don't know about y'all, but I absolutely despise daylight savings time. I'm always behind. So you can see it's really crystallized on there. It almost looks like it's frozen or something, which is very exciting. So we've kept our glaze nice and liquid up on top of the pit. Give it a final little stir here. Make sure that there hasn't been any sort of settling. And we're just going to sort of drizzle this over, just starting at the top, then let it do what it do. The next coat, I'm going to have a brush. Make sure that you sort of dig down into the bottom so that you get some of your fruit chunks out. I've been like taste testing this glaze, and it is, ain't nothing wrong with that, is all I can tell you. Crown winning ham. I'm proud of this one. I don't know. Hopefully I'm proud of it when I taste it. How are we looking over there? I think we're looking pretty fire, to be honest with you. So don't go too heavy, because a lot of this is, as it heats up in that smoker, it's going to run off. You don't want to wash off your sugar. The good news is that most of what this is sugar, and so it's not going to dissolve a whole lot of it. And let's get this thing back into the smoker. That thing is going to be epically beautiful when we come back out. And we're going to hit it up 2 more times. Time for another coat. Behold. So we're just gonna stir this up. We're gonna go in for another coat. When I put this back in a while ago, I failed to mention this, but I did crank the temp on my smoker up to 300 because I wanna crystallize all this sugar. That does mean that my internal temp is gonna be going up a little bit faster. I'm using a brush this time because once I get it kind of flowing down the sides, I wanna make sure that I get an even coat all over this thing. I could be perfectly happy with it right now, but you know me. I want perfection. This might seem like you're putting a lot of this on, but every time you throw it back in there, fat renders out of the ham, the sugar in this stuff liquefies a little bit more. You're losing a lot of it. The more you can do multiple coats, thicker the crust you're gonna have, and the more impressive and delicious it's gonna be. I don't wanna use all of this now. I'm gonna take just a little bit and keep it, and when it comes time to serve this on Saturday, I'm gonna put a little bit over the top of it. And I think that has got us pretty good. We're gonna do just a smidget more over the top, and we're going right back into the heat. Good Lord, that is something else. See y'all in a little bit. I'll probably put another coat on this right before it comes out when it gets at about 135. Right now we're at 120-ish. We got about another 12 to 15 degrees before it's completely done at that 140, 145 degree mark. So I'll probably put one more coat on this and won't video that, but the next time you see this, it'll be done. I don't even know what to say. How about we just bump it up another notch? Just a little bit of the apple pie, just to solidify on there, just a little bit. And then a small amount of the sugar. Do the Salt Bay thing. And the heat from the ham is going to melt that little glaze down, solidify it on top. We're gonna let this rest for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're gonna cut into it and see what's up. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. Look at this thing. It looks like a piece of candy. It's ham candy. It's smoked ham candy. What's better than crown winning smoked ham candy? I don't know. We're gonna taste it here in a minute and see if I can think of anything better. See y'all in just a little bit. It's done. It's rested. It's smoked. It's glazed. And it's finally done. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna have trouble cutting this one. Taking this over to my mama and daddy's house for Thanksgiving on Saturday, and I still want it to be pretty, so y'all are gonna have to bear with me. We're gonna be taking some cuts off of maybe the less pretty side, but it's all pretty, so that's okay. Just look at this thing. It is ham candy. I wish I could do a slow, silent spin, but I don't have it like that. We're gonna cut right there. And then we have hit a warm spurt down here at the river, so if y'all see a fly or a gnat or something, that's just the devil doing his work. Let's cut this ham. What do y'all say? Oh, man alive. Man alive, look at it. You don't have to worry one bit about drying this stuff out. It is just, wow. This is my piece. Glistening. Glistening. And this sugar will harden up even more after this cools. All you have to do after you've done this, if you want to do this a day ahead of time or a day or two ahead of time, put it in the fridge, cover it in full, and just set it out on the counter for a couple hours before you cook it, or put it in the oven on warm and just get it up to room temperature, because typically ham is served at room temperature. But not this ham. This is glory. Oh my gosh. What have I done? That is so delicious. Oh my gosh, y'all. That is so good. That's when you take the slow bite. Just look at that. We did butter and all in it. Sugar, the glaze, the whole shebang. This is the best ham I've ever had. The best ham I've ever had. And this is just a ham from Sam's. This didn't come from no specialty farm somewhere, which I'm not downing. I like specialty farms. I just can't afford them. This is a $20 ham from Sam's that we've just turned into a $100 ham. No doubt about it. Let me know if you have questions. Go ahead, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Come over to American Smoked Carnivores on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.